G'day guys, Joel mate, Big J here. Welcome to another edition of Aussie Boxing Talk, the show that literally hits you right between the eyes. So, topic of today is a response video to my old mate Lyndon Hosking, who did his Talking Boxing show last night, which I enjoy watching, always enjoy Lyndon's stuff. And just to clarify a couple of things. Now, I said that I didn't like the Matchroom show because I thought it was shit. And, Lyndon said, you've got to back it up with facts. Well, here's the facts. You had Cassidy Thornberry, right, in his debut in a one-sided mismatch with a bloke that had been knocked out. I think his record was 11-24, some bloke from Thailand whose name I can't pronounce. They'd been lost 24 times, 22 knockouts. The last 6 times he was knocked out, including Ben Horn and Cooper O'Connell, was in the first round. So automatically you're like, why are they putting this poor Thai fella just to be a moving punching bag for this young kid? So that's a one-sided mismatch. Alex Leopai was in another one, was in a 30-second mismatch, right? I'm talking about the Matchroom card that recently happened on Saturday night, featuring the main event of Jake Wiley and Joseph Dibb, and co-feature of Sky Nicholson for those playing at home. Right, so Alex Leopai was in another 30-second one-sided mismatch. There were a couple of other fights on there that were nothing special. The production was terrible. The commentary was terrible. Everything just looked horrendous. And Lyndon, you said you only watched the last 2 fights, Sky and the main event. So how can you judge the entire card unless you actually watched the entire card? I watched the broadcast from 8 o'clock, which I think was the first the first fight was the 2 girls' fights. Then you had Alex Leopai's 30-second one-sided mismatch. All right, so, the whole thing. Then you had Sky Nicholson, who was in another one-sided mismatch against this Singh girl, who, Sky might have been improving on things, but I said to Sky, this was a fall from grace. To go from only 2 fights ago headlining a world title event, right, to having a club show against an absolute tomato can of a fighter, right, that's a fall from grace. It's like, where's the rematch with Tiara Brown? She won't get one because she knows she'll just get beat again. So how can you say it's not a fall from grace to say that you're going from world title fights to within 2 fights being the co-feature, not even the main event, on a club show in Brisbane? Yeah, it was on the Zone. So what? Pretty much everything's televised these days. If it's not on a broadcaster, it's on the internet. So, that's a fall from grace in my opinion. You go from fighting world title fights 2 fights ago, right, to dropping down to division, to fighting absolute tomato cans so you can work on your fundamentals in boxing. Well, why not use it in the featherweight division? The featherweight division's pretty weak. Probably the weakest division in women's boxing. Besides Amanda Serrano and Tiara Brown, there's really no one there. So why not use that? Why go down to 122, in my opinion, so she can just beat up smaller girls? So, but anyway, we all know that it seems that Lyndon wants to sink the boots in to limit any chance he gets, right? But leave everyone else alone. As I said, I was saying that, in regards to Maloney's, not so much Andrew, but Jason losing to not one but two kickboxers is not a good look. Right? Not a good look at all. You're a world caliber champion fighter and then you lose to not one but 2 boxers that have less than 10 fights to their name. Yeah, that's not a good look. So, but back onto the Matchroom card. Yeah, okay, the main event was good. But the main event, I know the main event is what everyone goes to see, but this was a club show, right? This was Jacob Wiley versus Joseph Dibb. Neither of those guys are setting even the domestic level scene on fire. Those guys aren't even the top echelon of domestic fighting scene in Australia. They're mid-carders in Australia, All right, they've never headlined another card, not that I know of. Well, Jake Wiley saved the Kambosos show, and Eddie did this as a favour to him for saving the Kambosos show. I guarantee Jake Wiley will never headline another Matchroom card in his life. Right, I'm guaranteeing this won't happen. Right, I mean, if Eddie wants to take over the Australian market, he probably could. I disagree with that because I don't think Eddie has any idea what the hell he's doing. Without Turkey Allah Sheik, Eddie's cards are woeful. Go watch a Matchroom card that doesn't have the backing of a Turkey Ali Sheik like the one on Saturday night and tell me if it's good or not. It was bloody woeful. Right? Yes, the main event was good, but the main event does not justify the rest of the card being absolutely terrible. It doesn't justify some Thai bloke who's got 22 knockouts getting knocked out again in the first round. It doesn't justify Alex Leopai beating up another person in 30 seconds flat. It doesn't justify Sky Nicholson fighting an absolute tomato can of a fighter so she can work on her fundamentals. Just because the main event was good does not mean that the rest of the card can be garbage. And you yourself didn't see it, Lyndon. You said you only watched the last two fights. I watched the entire card. The whole thing was terrible. Okay, yeah, the real difference between No Limit and the Matchroom card is one's behind a $70 paywall, no doubt. No Limit have some balls on them asking $70 for that debacle, right? And they'll do it again, right? They'll do it again. They'll put the next Nikita fight on a $70 paywall, and if you pay for it, that's on you. I don't pay for it, so I'm fine. But I just wanted to clarify the fact that, the No Limit card was disgraceful and everyone agrees with that. The Matchroom card wasn't much better. I mean, yeah, it was part of your subscription, but subscription ain't free. You're still paying $30 a month for that. All right? You're still paying $30 a month for that. That ain't free. Free is free-to-air television when it's on Channel 9, and I think the last time Channel 9 put on a fight was when Billy Dibb got knocked out by the Japanese guy about 10 years ago for the WBC Super Featherweight title. Could be wrong. But, yeah. What I'm saying is that the Matchroom card on Saturday was not great. It was bloody terrible. It was awful. Right? The only real difference between... Okay, yes, the main event was good, but so what? Like, that doesn't justify the rest of the card being dog meat. Right? It doesn't justify the rest of the card being terrible. And you can't compare... I don't want people to compare what happened on Saturday night to Canelo Crawford. Oh, Canelo Crawford's going, is the main event, so the rest of the card can be dog shit. Canelo Crawford is the fight of the fucking decade. Right? Canelo Crawford is the fight of the decade. Right? We don't need the rest of the undercard. It's Canelo Crawford. You cannot compare arguably the number one and the number two pound for pound fighters in the world, certainly the top four. The top four is, in no particular order, Usyk, Inoue, Canelo, Crawford. I would actually put Canelo above Crawford because Crawford's been so inactive where Canelo fights at least twice a year. So I think there's your top four. Probably, in that order. Usyk, Inoue, Canelo, Crawford. There's your top four pound for pound fighters. So you've got number 3 and number 4 fighting each other. That's the fight of the decade. Right? Not the fight of the century because that was Mayweather Pacquiao, but it turned out to be the fucking disappointment of the century because you all know how dog shit that fight was. So I don't want people even insulting everyone's intelligence, including their own, by saying, oh, Canelo and Crawford's going to be okay, so that undercard can be dog shit, and try to compare it to a club show in Brisbane with 2 domestic level guys who are mid-carders at best. And that's no insult to Jake Wiley or Yusuf Dib. That's just the way it is. None of those guys are going to be world champions. Neither guy is going to headline a world title fight. So don't bring Canelo and Crawford into the same conversation as what happened on Saturday night. That's just ridiculous, right? And in my opinion, Canelo will kick the living shit out of Crawford, right? That's just my opinion. Because at the end of the day, it's a blown-up super welterweight fighting a blown-up lightweight. So, but that's another video for another day. But I just wanted to say that, I wanted to clarify some things that, in my opinion, the Matchroom card was dreadful. The production was shit. The commentary was shit. The fights were mostly one-sided mismatches. Right? Yes, the main event was a good fight, but it wasn't a barn burner. It's certainly not going to be a contender of the year. a good domestic scrap. Will either fighter get anything out of it? Probably not. Will any other fighter? Is that going to lead to Jacob Wiley or Yusuf Dib headlining matchroom shows in the future for Eddie Hearn? I doubt it. I'd like to be proven wrong. I hope it does project them into a great. That's the catalyst that takes off both their careers. But I seriously doubt it. So I don't think that's going to turn Jake Wiley into a future world champion. I want to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope Jake throws so much egg on my face I have to make an omelette. So if Yusuf Dib, if they both turn out to be world champions one day, I'll gladly eat my words. But I seriously doubt it. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. The matchroom card was bloody woeful. No Limit show was even worse, considering the fact that it was a $70 pay-per-view. Subscription is not free, because you still have to pay $30 a month to see that, $360 a year to get that DAZN stuff. And trust me, in my opinion, without Turkey Al Sheikh, Eddie's shows aren't great. They're bloody awful most of the time. And go and watch me and T Street. We've been critiquing Eddie's shows for years. They're just getting poorer and poorer quality every single time. Frank Warren's killing it. Queensberry are doing great. But Eddie just seems to be dropping off, getting less and less every single time. So that's just my opinion. I wanted to clear a few things up. Me and Lyndon ain't got no beef. I love Lyndon. He's great. I love it, the fact that we get to talk. It's just hard to clarify things when you've only got 200 characters on bloody YouTube per comment. So it would have been easier if I come on the show. We could have had a debate about it. It would have been good. But, anyway, I look forward to Lyndon's next show, as I always do. As always, tackle ball, wrestle croc, harden yourself the fuck up, like and subscribe. I want to get up to 1,000 so I start getting some money out of this shit, because I'm sick and tired of doing this shit for free. Harden yourselves the fuck up and have yourselves a great day.